do you call this? Take your bloody shoes off in my house. Not putting that on the carpet. Sorry.
We don't know who's the boss now.
Oh, no. It's me. I've got my nice cream carpet. You got to put shoes on.
Well, Han, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I've literally not eaten yet. I'm on my first coffee of the day. I've been kind of my whole sleeping pattern's kind of shifted.
Oh yeah. You guys are gigging. You're still doing the pale. Are you off the Pale Waves thing at the moment because of the illness? Was it? Or are you back on the tour again?
Yeah, we're calling it the Shit Show Tour 2022. It's like we did like 3 shows, then James lost his voice, and then 2 days later, Heather lost her voice. So there's been like a massive gap in the middle, but we rejoin it tomorrow. Okay. It's just weird because I've been at home in between and like not in the right mental state to be at home. You know, and you like gear yourself up ready to go out, and then you're like, oh shit, like I'm here at home. What the fuck is this about?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I can't even imagine what it must be like trying to navigate everything because you know you're on, you're off, and even just the uncertainty from day to day to what's happening. Does somebody have COVID? Does somebody not have COVID? You know, it's like.
I mean, it doesn't matter now because it's apparently of today. You don't have to isolate.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you can spit on the crowd now. It's all good again.
Well, I kind of was a little bit before, but keep that bit secret.
Okay, so Mark here from Rock and Load. Today I am joined by Mee and Jim Shaw from Emo-Power-Pop group Hot Milk. How are you guys doing?
We are alive, so that means good.
Brucey bonus, Brucey bonus. Welcome to 2022. If you got this far, you've done well. It's like a new game or version of Squid Game. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, it's all alive. I think real life is actually even darker than Squid Game if you want to go down that path.
Yeah, it sadly is. It sadly is. So, guys, it's the first time actually talking to both of you together. I did meet Jim in Belfast when you guys were supporting.
Was that when he was really hungover?
I was incredibly hungover.
Hungover, yeah. Deaf Havana, hanging out of himself. So he was, yeah. I think he was right partying the night before.
We were, yeah. I'm incredibly sorry for that interview.
Well, sure, you know, we've got to show all of our faces, don't we? Really, we're all human at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, listen, tell us a little bit of history about yourselves initially. Like, start us off with where did your own musical journey start? Like, what got you involved in passion for music?
God, I think for me at 11 years old, I got given, Dookie by Green Day because my uncle thought it was a kids CD because of the front cover. It's like a cartoon. And then from there, I went backwards to like Ramones, Replacements, Joan Jett, Runaways, Bikini Kill. And that's kind of what pushed me forward. And like when he was discovering bands like Fall Out Boy, like I hadn't listened to a Fall Out Boy till last year, had I?
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that was where I started. Got very solid punk roots, and I think that ethos, it drove me to do like a politics degree. You know what I mean? It really inspired me, like my morals. I always say I was brought up by punk music, not my parents, because our morals are very different, and I think I got mine from music. But you got a bit of a different.
Yeah, mine was a little bit different. But I got given a family kind of heirloom piece of shit acoustic guitar that had been passed down from generation to generation, and no one had really. I mean, I come from quite a musical family. They can all kind of sing and they play piano and
a bit more than mine.
Well, yeah, but yeah, no one really played guitar, so that kind of got passed around a bit and ended up with me. And I ended up, playing more and more, and kind of I was always shit at theory, so I'd pick stuff up like by ear and found that I was quite good at that, being able to hear songs on the radio and be like, oh, I can work that out. And then I kind of started busking in York as a kid. So I used to busk outside the races, and used to stand outside, and anyone who would win a load of money would just kind of play this. I'll give you 20 quid. So
that's your target audience anyway.
We say that you made more money then than
I do now.
Yeah,
I know. I just don't have the same little
the little face that you used to have. Yeah.
So I don't think I get the same kind of response.
Oh, you still got a little face,
Yeah.
Still got a little bit.
So yeah, just kind of, and then like made, played in a lot of school bands and stuff like that, and kind of a lot of my mates are really into music, so it was the whole kind of like, trading CDs, like, oh, have you heard this yet, blah blah blah. So
you got a great story of when your grandma got you a Trivium CD for Christmas.
Cool granny.
Yeah, she
was amazing, by the way, his grandma. I loved
she's
her
incredible
so much.
But yes, so the first song on Ascendancy is this kind of like growing like
Like
orchestral
orchestral.
piece.
Yeah.
And my grandma was like, "Oh, this is nice." And we got 2 seconds, like the second song, I'm like, and that's enough.
On Christmas Day. Come on, James, stick your CD on.
I was like, "You're not right."
I can imagine. So you were gigging from a young age then, Jim? You were out there doing it?
Yeah, I started busking when I was like 11, 12.
Yeah, I was in like school bands from the age of 13, like practicing in the school hall. I went to an all-girls school, so I had to like persuade the music teacher to allow me to have boys in the school.
Oh yeah.
To come and practice after school so that we could all do it together, because none of the girls wanted to be in a band with me because none of them were into that, and I was the weirdo tomboy that was like, I want to be in the band. So I persuaded the music teacher to allow me to have boys in the school, which was like a big deal at the time.
I believe it.
And, you know, we put on a few like band nights, and that was my first, I guess, exploration to promoting, which is what I did for 10 years after that, you know.
Yeah. And so when did you discover your voice?
I'm still discovering my voice. I can't sing, really.
I think we just kind of...
I'm still winging it, mate. I've never had a good lesson or a vocal lesson, or, you know, I'm completely self-taught. So
we kind of wrote songs out of boredom, though, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then they came out better than we thought they would.
Yeah, we surprised ourselves, I think.
By that point in our life, by like our kind of early 20s, we were just kind of like in career, well, starting to kind of get into careers, and we were like, okay, it's in the music industry.
Yeah.
It's not quite what we want to do, but
it'll do, because it's like
plan B.
Yeah, it's like if you're making money from putting on gigs locally, you kind of like, well, this is nice. This is what is, you know, kind of the dream, but it wasn't really the dream. You know what I mean?
Which is why we started kind of exploring writing, because it wasn't quite scratching the itch.
Yeah, so something missing for sure.
So yeah, I suppose it's like you say, either you're a musician or you find yourself working in some sort of field around music, and if you're really it's gnawing at you all the time, you want to get out there on stage and do it for yourself. You just have to make that leap, don't you?
That's the thing. We made the leap, and we just thought, fuck it. Like, we jacked everything in as well. Like, we had a lot of people saying, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not what you should do. And that's what we were just like, we believe our path. We know what we can do.
Yeah, people normally go from the music, playing in bands, to the music industry, but they don't go the other way around.
But I think we learned what we had to do. We learned the route. If you can see the path and you can see where it is, I think you just have to get yourself on it. And I think even now we've got a vision, and the vision is there, and I know what we need to do to get there. And if anyone tells me otherwise, and I'll just be like, well, you'll be coming to me in 2 years' time saying the opposite, because that's what has happened so far.
Yeah. Well, it's worked for you so far, so you sort of have to trust your instincts as well, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I just kind of believe it's the universe is.
We've always like
showed us the path.
We've always said about manifesting, haven't we?
Manifest it. As long as you work hard, then the rest will come good. And we try to be as good people as much as we can along the way as well.
You've got to believe. You've got to have some belief in yourself. Like there's the elements of luck, but if you're not there to have the luck kind of wash over you, then
everyone else is going to be the first person to bring you down. Everyone is jealous, or everyone's got like a side of them that it can be negative. So if you don't believe in your own shit, then people are just going to exploit that.
No one else will.
No one else is going to believe in it. And it's almost like the audacity and the like, how have we got the audacity to believe in? Because really it's just a game, isn't it? It's just a joke.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, like, none of us are curing cancer with what we do. You know, it's so you've just lives, you want to make the best.
It is saving lives in some ways. It's the life is the cake, and music and the arts is the cherry on that cake, and it kind of makes it sweeter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it helps people get through it, and it's a distraction. And for us, it just means we get to travel and make cool friends and see people and play shows, and that's what it is for us. It's the experience, and it's the diary entry that forms into a song, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So looking at sort of a bit of information about you guys online, so like you literally started writing your own stuff when you met each other and moved in together. Mm-hmm. For about maybe 18 months you were chipping away at that sort of grafting and honing your craft, and then you started uploading those onto SoundCloud sort of anonymously, because you, as you say, you were in the music scene and you just didn't want to, you weren't sure of the response really to the project. Yeah,
a bit of protection, and also a bit of kind of like, we didn't want people to then look back and be like, oh well, they were handed that on the plate. Of course they were, because they had the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no way we were handed it on a plate. I think we were almost had harder hurdles to jump over because of that. I think we had a lot of peer kind of judgment, and I think when it finally found out it was us, I got some very strange phone calls from people being like, what are you doing? And you know, I think it was against the grain. It was something that it's like Kanye West, right? I'm watching his documentary at the moment, and people saw him as a producer first, and didn't see him as a rapper, but until he was a rapper, and he got a lot of people that ignored him and just kind of laughed at him and scoffed at him. That's kind of the response that we got, people being like, oh, Hannah and Jim are trying to be in a band, and kind of like, well, we know what we can do. All I have to do is make you see.
And out of curiosity, what were you using at the time? Like when you were doing those recordings, like what sort of setup do you have?
It was
basically what Hannah's got now. So I've just given Hannah kind of my little Mac.
Just like an interface, a Mac.
A Kemper.
Plugins, Kemper, yeah.
It was very primitive.
A really shitty microphone.
Borrowed from a mate. Yeah. Like it was just kind of the whatever we could get our hands on, because unfortunately one of the reasons why my other band before I'd started working in kind of production, the reason why it failed is because we got burgled and they took absolutely everything.
But the insurance payout allowed us to build the studio that we have now, because we're still write in a bedroom. We just write with more expensive equipment now. We've actually you've spent a lot of money on making that studio able to sound and output what we do, because really
it's just something like it's kind of still the bare bones of what
it's
what
not
we started with, but it's just I mean, anyone who knows like a home studio, you just build and build and build and understand what works for you and what doesn't.
Have you trained in production then, Jim? Have you?
So YouTube's been my best mate. Like I went to uni, and I just, by that point in my life, I'd kind of got fed up with education. So I just kind of, a good friend of mine, he worked for a lighting company in Manchester, and he was like, they're looking for warehouse ops. Do you want to come and just, build some cables, clean some lights, do that kind of stuff? And from there, I kind of like, for years of working at this local crew at festivals and like kind of
basically long hours lifting shit. That's what you did.
Exactly. Being around people that know their craft and stuff like that. And I think that's just as important as kind of like any formal training, is going and just doing stuff and meeting the people that are doing it, and learning from them. So that's kind of in every single, scenario, from playing guitar to recording, production to
production elements on the show.
Production elements on the show, how to tour successfully. That all just comes from experience and talking to people that have done it.
And doing it day in, day out. Every day's a school day, especially when you're out there actually doing those things. Whether it be a small club, a medium-sized club, or a massive venue that you guys have been lucky enough to play in. And
we're still making mistakes. Like nobody is. Every day's a learning day. You learn something new every single day.
I don't think everybody knows everything. Like our manager Gus Brandt, he's the tour manager for the Foo Fighters, and even he learns something new every day, and he's so humble in that. And we learn so much from these people that are around us that they are like experts in their craft, but yet they still
willing to listen
and learn. But that's the thing, like it's actually the biggest thing that we've taken away from it is that you just can't be a cunt. Like it's about being a nice, solid, rounded person that has common sense. And there's no room for ego at the top, because every single super famous person that we've ever met, Pharrell, Dave Grohl, Mark Hoppus, they've all been grounded. There's a theme there. Not one of them I've come away going, he's got an ego. They haven't. I
think the role of the rock star these days has changed quite a bit, hasn't it? Maybe the 80s was the time of the ego and the opulence and all that sort of thing, but I think there's a bit of a crash after that as well. So
people want people. Like there's so much ego and like fake. You see, you don't have Instagram, you didn't have a Facebook where
you could get away with a lot then.
But people, people are showing themselves off and stuff like that. So when people are actually looking for someone to kind of believe in and listen to, they want someone that they know is kind of telling the truth and just being them, and it's refreshing.
I think being a rock star now, what I see it as is being unapologetically yourself, standing up for what you believe in very vocally, not taking any shit, but doing it in a very like common sense way, being like, all right mate, crack on, sorry that you think that, but fuck off. Like don't get me wrong, like I'm the first person to like get in a fight if it's needed, but at the same time I'd rather preach a thing of truth and like acceptance and honesty. I think that's, in a world of liars, I think it's actually quite refreshing to be able to be like, we stand for this. And I think that's what a rock star is now. It's like, standing for something that's like real.
Well, I think maybe the shift in the music industry as well, the fact that maybe music now doesn't provide the pay packet for what you do, so you have to maybe sell yourself more on social media, and your presence is so important. So, and as you're really scrutinized under the microscope now as well, aren't you?
100%. It's really hard, the fact that you can't just be a musician now. You've got to be a singer, dancer, comedian, spokesperson.
Social media guru.
Exactly, that's it. It's not good enough just to be good at one thing or do one thing. Like, you need to be this polished package.
I always think like Robert Smith wouldn't last 5 minutes if he was coming through now. You know what I mean? Like, he's an introverted, quiet, moody little guy. He wouldn't. You've got to have these loud, brash personalities a lot of the time. Luckily, I am loud and a fucking dickhead, so it kind of just play into my strengths a little bit. But I can understand some people that are, in bands and are quite introverted. Probably they struggle with it a lot more. And I don't agree with the way that it's gone. Like, I don't think that this is a way that good art is created. But I'm hoping that the truth will out, and eventually it might fade a little.
Yeah.
It might be a bit of a resurgence against.
It definitely needs. It definitely needs to shift. They can't. It's not sustainable the way it is at the moment, isn't it?
No, I think as well, like, labels are signing things really quick for short periods, and so the music is becoming massively so consumerist.
Yeah, exactly. There's
new song. It's not about a song having a big moment now. It's about having it being a flash in the pan.
Exactly, and that's why you're struggling with albums. Like,
your albums are fucking dying, man.
They're just singles. They're not albums anymore. They're just a home for like 10 singles.
It's an old thing, which is why we wanted to do so many EPs before we did an album. We wanted to have 3 EPs out, so it's like rather than like. And
with this next one, we've gone like a bit kind of old school. We've gone for like a concept. We've kind of been more about how does this EP sound as a piece, rather than like, let's get as many singles in as possible.
Yeah.
It is.
It's rapid fire now, as you say. People are just releasing single after single because they have to keep the machine going and keep people talking about it. And even over the likes of the pandemic, people were so hesitant to release anything because there was no touring to support it or prolong those releases.
Yeah, I think we were really lucky in the pandemic. We really capitalized on the use of TikTok and stuff. As much as I hate TikTok, I really don't like it. I think
we just didn't stop.
It's the antithesis of what I stand for, really. But we used it, and it was successful for us. Like, we doubled in size during the pandemic, and we came out of it in a very fortunate position.
It's frustrating as a band where you're trying to focus on the main thing of making music, and you being asked to, like, well, you've got to do this short video of you licking your toenails, you know what I mean, to get some. And it's like, I just want to sit here and write a fucking good album.
But unfortunately,
just give me a second.
That's what I'm for. You know what I mean? That means we have different roles. Everyone has a role in the band, and we kind of have those split in a good way. I think we've got all bases covered, I think, because as well, we build our own racks. We're constantly working on the show. We don't have anyone coming in and being like an MD in the show. Like, we MD our own show. We're so in control of absolutely everything. We don't have anybody else to rely on. It's just us.
Yeah. I think we're getting shouted, are we? We're getting shouted at by Warren. We didn't even cover half the things I wanted to cover with you, but we'll have to organize another one sometime, get a proper catch up.
100%.
And are you guys back on the tour then for the date in March with Pale Waves again?
We're not doing Ireland, unfortunately.
Okay.
We'll be coming and doing a headline tour in Ireland this year.
Okay. Well, we'll then sure we'll have a proper natter.
Wicked, man.
Okay. Well, look, lovely talking to you. It's finally good to catch up with both of you. And Jim, I'm glad you're sober today.
Well, maybe I'm just holding it well.
Okay, guys. Look, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon. Catch you on the other side.
Wicked. Take care, mate.
No problem. Take care.